I play the no rules game. So let's see what they have to say. Happy Halloween! This is our Halloween special, complete with the shenanigans that we all learned to love. Hallowmas, October 31st, also known as Samhain, All Souls Night, All Hallows Eve, Hallows, and Halloween. Night is noticeably lengthened as the darkened half of the year marks the first day of winter. With the last of the harvest gathered and stored away, the livestock were brought in from the summer's pastures close to home. Those animals not likely to survive the winter were slaughtered and their meat preserved for winter stores. In the early times, this was a time of sacrifice, divination for the new year, and communion with the dead. To the ancestors, this season was a time of endings and rest. And the night of October 31st was a moment in time that belonged to neither past nor present, to neither this world nor the other world. In Ireland, the customs of November's Eve vary greatly from village to village. The beloved dead were remembered and honored by candles that were formerly lit, one for each departed relative. If the deceased had died in the family home, a candle was lit in the room that they had passed. It was a night when communication with the dead was possible, and one could ask favors from the ancestors. It was also the time to escort the souls of those who had passed through the veils between life and death. Halloween was also called the Night of the Mischief, or Con, when bands of young people were to go door to door, begging for bread or money. The holiday was taken very seriously, because the people knocking at the door might be real fairies or ghosts in disguise. Did I say fairies? It was utmost important to give them something. Pranks were played on persons generally held to be mean or unpleasant. Divination customs include the lighting of the bonfires and scaring into the hot coals or ashes to foretell the future for personal reasons, such as marriage or the success of the next year's crops. Especially important was the foretelling of the weather for the coming year. It was especially important was the foretelling of the weather for the upcoming year, often done by observing the winds at night, which would indicate the prevailing wind during the coming season and the warning of storms. The practice of trick-or-treat, in which children disguised as ghosts and goblins walked from door to door, asking for donations of candy, is still celebrated in many of the neighborhoods in the United States. Seances and scary stories and spooky games to foretell the future are still played at today's festivities of Halloween by young and old alike. The image of the old crone riding a broom across the moon is displayed in stores' windows and in homes. Although most unaware that these images and customs survived from ancient pagan religions, most Americans have yet to let go of the holiday that acknowledges the place of death in life. Mexico is celebrated in many parts of the United States and is the result of a fusion between medieval Spanish-European traditions honoring souls of the dead and pre-Columbian indigenous rites of the dead. In the mid-10th century, Pope Gregory IV established All Souls Day and Feast of All Saints on November 1st and 2nd, respectively. This is a time set aside in many families to honor their ancestors by bringing offerings of yellow marigolds, photographs, incense, fanciful toys and food, and alcohol libations to special altars and to the grave sites of relatives for family reunions. The atmosphere of the festival is light-hearted and loving. Samhain, Halloween. The summer's end is a Celtic feast of the dead, when the veils or spheres between the realms are at their thinnest, and the departed spirits may return to commune with the living. Bonfires may be lit, and blazing straw from fires carried throughout the streets and to the fields. The burning, the byproduct of what was harvested, returns nutrients back to the land for next year's harvest. Today, this would go into a compost pile or be plowed into the soil for a winter to break down the next year's planting. Samhain is at the calendar's opposite to Beltane, the beginning of summer and the planting of the summer's crop. These days, advanced farming techniques have greatly extended the abilities to grow food practically year-round in most places around the world. The Christianized Earth holidays around the calendar to balance the pagan with the Christian alike, like winter solstice, December 21st, and Christmas, December 25th. All Souls Day on November 1st, with All Hallows, or Hallowmas, or Halloween, the night before, which is October 31st. This is the most powerful magical night of the year, and it is a time to commune with other worldly beings. Exactly the opposite to Beltane on the wheel of the calendar. Samhain is the Celtic New Year and the Feast of the Dead. Yet as the death is necessary for rebirth, the New Year has always been celebrated with chaotic and noisy and joyous festivities, bringing on a symbolic end of the world and a new birth of the new. The trick-or-treating of Halloween is an echo of this and the wild hunt. This has been a favorite holiday for Christians and pagans alike of all ages, and for the celebration of the masquerade and for pumpkin carvings. In South America, it is referred to as the Day of the Dead. Shrines to the beloved dead are put up everywhere, along with skulls and skeletons. And in many places, candles are put into the rooms with food and drinks from the soul. Most important element of Samhain is the underworld supper, not limited to the foods like mushrooms and nuts, black olives and pork and beans and chocolate, often shared in the silence where the spirits of the beloved dead are invited to join the feast. This is similar to the feast after funerals and wakes. Food for the dead. The food for the dead is taken from Homer's Odyssey book. I pour a liberation of all the dead, first with a mixture of honey and milk, then with sweet wine, third time with water. All this I sprinkle white barley. When I had finished feeding the host of the dead, blah, 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 blah. I think we're going to fix it because it's part of this blood. This is why you're supposed to read ahead of time. Ingredients: 1 part milk, one part honey, 1 part water, and sprinkled with white barley. 1 part sweet wine, and 1 part blood. Now it doesn't say what kind of blood. It says blood. It does not say animal blood, fish blood. Yeah. Feed the victims and cut their throats, and their dark blood flowed into the pit. Yeah, we're not doing that. I don't get what you say. Forget I even mentioned it. No. Trick or treat. We're doing trick or treat. Babe Ruth. Fudge. Lots of fudge. I like fudge. Food for the dead? No, we're not doing food for the dead. Anywho, happy Halloween!